Hey everyone, this is the Game Hunter. Welcome you to a new ongoing segment that's been ongoing for some time, like my anime segment on my channel. This is an actual theory video, and this is something there's a lot of thoughts been going on, and also another thing, if you follow the One Piece manga, so they recently just came out in regards to Sanji, which is sparking a lot of freaking debate. And debate's good, and I have a feeling that Oda knew what he was doing when he put "Only Alive" on Sanji's wanted poster. Which, by the way, this is gonna be full of spoilers. If you follow me, you watch One Piece, and you only watch the dub, you might want to turn this off right now, even though I just spoiled something for you. In the long run, it's not really much. It's just this is a theory. So if you don't mind spoilers, and this is probably going to affect your opinion on One Piece as a whole, stick around. This is going to be an interesting theory. And before this, if I go on to this chapter and stuff like this, I want to just say that there's going to be some pictures going in the background. It might be the manga, and me scrolling through it, and it might not be. You never know. It might just be a static picture of Sanji. Just want you guys to know that. Okay, first of all, this the week, well, actually last week, this recording, me recording this theory video. Last week, chapter 801 of One Piece came out, and boy oh boy, it had a lot of information and a lot of hype for what's to come in the One Piece universe. Things were revealed, things like that. Not much. It was still pretty cool. You saw characters returning like normal fashion. But one little tidbit, is spawning a lot of freaking discussion, not debate, discussion. And it's the wanted posters, cause we all know Luffy defeating Doflamingo we all knew this was gonna happen. Luffy's body and his crew's body was just gonna jump because he took down another freaking Shichibukai. That was expected. We expected the bounties to be going higher. There were a couple bounties in there that kind of caught me off guard. One being Usopp's, because Usopp's bounty went up pretty high. He's now the third highest bounty of the crew. If you find, wait, what? He's the third highest bounty? What about Sanji? This is what I'm about to get to now. Sanji's bounty is lower than Usopp's. But Sanji's bounty, Sanji's wanted poster is sparking a lot of discussion because, his bounty may be lower than Usopp's. But the problem is, not the problem, the thing is, the poster says, "Only Alive." Now, this in itself is very weird because, pirates are pirates. The government wants them dead. They offer bounties on these pirates' heads to get people to capture them, whether they're dead or alive, and they'll get the reward for it. Now, Sanji's poster is particularly weird because, there's been a theory going about, a really popular theory going on about Sanji, and connections to royalty. If a lot of you who've watched One Piece know of the royalty spectrum of the One Piece world, you get the Ten Robito, or the Celestial Dragons is what they're called over in America. Then you got the Girosai, the head royalty connect over the government, people who live in Marijoa. And you got the 12 kings that have connections to the government. Royalty has been shown to have huge connections to the government, and they also influence the government. But the thing is, Sanji, and for me, this is yeah, that kind of have my part on it. Like I was saying, Sanji, it's just that Sanji, to me, his backstory has been questionable at best. And I'm sorry to all the people who think Sanji. I like Sanji too. At least I need some more time to shine. And Sanji's backstory is just one of the weirdest ones. And back when I first saw it, it wasn't that questionable. I didn't really question it because, yeah, he was a little kid. Some things he did kind of made sense for a little kid to do. Kids don't understand the importance of eating everything off the plate. It's just how things go. But as we go further and further into the actions of Sanji, these actions kind of support this theory that Sanji might be connected to royalty and he may not even be royalty, but he might have a connection. Um, just his actions have been questionable because it's like, wait, why do this stuff? Some things don't make a lot of sense. Um, like for one, if you want to, I mean, is it give me, if you want me to give you an example of what things don't make sense, um, Sanji's backstory when he's first introduced, he gives a story about how he ended up on the Barate. He tells a story. We find out he was on a ship as a little kid. He uh he was cleaning dishes in the kitchen, and the thing is, you're probably wondering why is that weird. My problem with this though is okay, Sanji as a little kid, he didn't understand the value of food. This is before his character changed. He didn't understand the value of food. He threw food away after people had touched it and they didn't finish their meal. Um, the cooks though would eat off the plates of the people who didn't finish their food. Sanji said that was disgusting. No, just throw this stuff away. Now, when you really think about that action, like what poor person, even a poor kid, wouldn't eat all the food off their plate? And that to me is a perfect example of an attitude of a person of some sort of enormous wealth. Now, you're probably wondering why does that say that he's wealthy? I'm not saying that means he's wealthy, but I'm saying that that's something you teach your kid. That's not something out of the gate that a kid ends up doing. Kids are curious. They'll put their hands on anything. Sanji, on the other hand, to me, as a kid, he seemed to almost do that almost autonomously, like he was taught this. Um, which that tells me that his parents must be wealthy, or their values are much different to a person who say is poor, who can't afford a lot of food. Now, that's just one thing. Now, another thing is, this is also interesting too. I never really thought too much about it until somebody brought it up. Um, Sanji had a nickname on Alabasta, and the nickname was Mr. Prince. Now, why, of all things in the world, choose Mr. Prince? There's a bunch of names he could have went with, but he went with the nickname Mr. Prince. Now, this particular nickname has spawned a lot of freaking discussion that Sanji might have been a former prince. And I think this is the one thing that spawned the discussion. That he might be a former prince, because people were trying to find things that pretty much verified that we had things that can be verified, at least to a certain extent, that Sanji might be royalty. I completely, back before this chapter revealed that he's only wanted alive, I neglected it, but I just passed it off as like people are just thinking too much into it. But now that we have a wanted poster of Sanji with an actual picture of him, mind you, an actual picture of him, and they say they want him alive, Sanji is important. I don't know what importance he possesses, but he is important. This picture, this freaking wanted poster verifies this. He is important. It's just so weird to think that Sanji might be a prince, because this completely changes how you view him. Um, Now we got Sanji fanboys all over the place. Now this is gonna change the perspective of how a Sanji fanboy views of Sanji, because now that we know that the government wants him alive, for what purpose? Guy's a pirate now, but he still holds some importance. It doesn't matter if he's a pirate; he still holds some importance. This is what makes this theory that he might be a prince even more valid. I mean, his attitude as a kid, his nickname. You want more? Uh, like Sanji, the fact that Sanji knows a very rare form of martial arts is another thing that people don't seem to really think about. Very few, and this is something too. Very few characters know a form of capoeira, I think is how you pronounced it, or something like that. A very weird form of martial arts where you use your feet. And it's very themed. Very few people know this form of martial art. Sanji knows it's martial art. Um, Sanji knows this. He's a very good kickboxer. Um, like it's interesting. Another thing, Sanji knows very good. He actually knows a lot about fine dining. I've noticed that he also knows a lot about fine dining. which a lot of pirates don't seem to know about. So Sanji has also got that going for him. It's like he knows some fine dining. Um, Another thing, according to Sanji, he was taught never to hit a woman. Now, this in itself kind of shows some chivalry to him, but not many people in the One Piece world have that chivalry. Now, the thing is, we don't know if this is just unique to him, or there might be some people in the royalty who have this view. I highly doubt it, but I think Sanji's been through a lot, and he said he was taught this. He was taught to never to hit a lady. Now, I'm not entirely sure where he was taught this. You probably have to look this up. Um, but that in itself is weird. But I think what really validates this is the fact that he was on a ship. We really don't know of what importance the ship was, because we don't really know much about it before and after it got crashed. Um, Something that's just weird about that ship that he was on. To me, I think it was an ocean liner. In the context of a world where there's a lot of water, it makes a lot of sense that an ocean liner would be something in the One Piece world that would be common. Another thing somebody brought up too. Sanji knew a lot about some lore of Noland. They even brought up the fact that he grew up in the North Blue, but then completely cut it off after that. That is a sign of something he's hiding. He's hiding something. Um, at the time, I didn't really think too much about it either, because the thing is, there's a lot of things here that I didn't really think too much about until now. But Oda is telling us something. Sanji is very important, and it's funny how we're being brought about this now. And another thing about this is like Sanji's always had a habit of having one of his eyes covered, and this is switched at the time skip. He now has his right eye showing, and his left eye covered, and he also has a very curly eyebrow. I don't know what and why that's important. You never know. Um, Point is what I'm getting at is I think the theory that Sanji might be royalty is completely valid. I really kind of believe this 95%. So there's still 5% chance that this could be wrong. But you still gotta think about it. Why is Sanji a pirate, the only person of Luffy's crew that is only wanted alive? This is gonna really screw with people's heads, because now the crew now knows Sanji's only wanted alive. Now Luffy's crew is based on trust. Now, if anything, this could be a ploy to screw with the Straw Hats, because the government wants the Straw Hats stopped. And what way to stop a crew that's doing really well on trust than um to do something that could ruin that trust? Uh, Throwing a witch into the works in the form of that Sanji is wanted alive, um, is an interesting plot device. Sanji is going to be showing some serious importance later on, and now that we know that he's one alive, I feel like we're going to be dealing with that soon, because it seems like a really interesting point to bring it up now instead of having it from the very beginning. Oda seemed like he was just holding this card in his hand, and not really revealing his hand until like now. But Sanji's doing a lot of things we really think is questionable, such as like Sanji even brought up that he even researched devil fruits before, figuring out the one that he wanted to fulfill his perverted desires, and he did a lot of research, finding out about the invisible fruit. This is like pre-time skip. Now, when you really think about that, how did Sanji get a hold of some books that allowed Sanji to research? Sanji was in a library. He was reading. This is interesting because a lot of his crew, a lot of his crew doesn't really show that much interest in reading, but except for Nico Robin because he's an archaeologist. But Sanji, he's a cook. He really should be reading nothing more than cookbooks, but as a kid he was reading library books and stuff like that, getting information. Sanji is really intelligent. Now, in the world of One Piece, knowledge is power. This is evident when Ohara was destroyed, because they were reading too much. They were learning things they shouldn't. Sanji, why and how was he getting a hold of books that would most likely get him killed? That's another weird point. How is he getting these books? There's a lot of things about Sanji we don't know. And a lot of people are probably gonna sit there and pass this off as me thinking too much. But honestly, really, really, can you sit there and say that we know everything about Sanji, the man behind the mask, um, his fighting style, everything is very weird. And I say his fighting style is another huge point because not many characters know Kapore, or how you pronounce that thing. Not many. And another thing, Sanji is the only character to ever go against these characters that have that fighting style. Sanji's always got into fights with some weird characters, and I've always wondered why he was the one always fighting these people with these weird fighting styles. Like, I mean, even his fighting style was kind of weird because a lot of his attacks were named after food. But Sanji, it's just weird. But the problem is, if he's royalty, why did it take them to now to want him alive? Because they could have told by his name. But something tells me, and I think this because all the straw hats, um, all the straw hats, like you know their last names. Some of them you don't. But I feel like not knowing Sanji's last name is crucial to finding out whether he's royalty or not. We need to know what Sanji's last name is. If we can get his last name, I'm pretty sure we'll figure out what's going on here, and Sanji might get some. Well, not might. He needs some development. Let's just be real here. As cool as a character he is, he needs development. He needs it. And if this is the way we're revealing something we didn't even know, I'm all for Sanji development. I'm all for a main Sanji arc. Sanji needs it. He needs some time to shine, and pretty much I'm expecting Sanji's bounty to go up. And I say this because it's a very low amount of money for somebody that you want alive, and you don't even know why they want him alive. And I'm pretty sure his bounty is low because they won't spark too much suspicion um about this guy. And it's just so weird. And on top of that, I guess another thing is like not many like he's a pirate, so when they first put him on that thing, I guess it was something that was like wasn't thought too much about. He was a pirate. There might be another pirate. There might be another person in the world named Sanji, and maybe there was some royalty looking for their kid. The fact that Sanji's like in his 20s at this point, he spent a good portion of his childhood on the Baratie. He grew up there. Um, and another thing, last thing before I end this video, somebody in the social media who was watching his theory on this, he also brought up an interesting point, which is kind of funny. Anybody that was revealed to be in connection with some royalty, they had blonde hair. Noland, Doflamingo, and Sabo. They all have blonde hair. I mean, Nolan's kind of a myth, but still, you have Doflamingo and Sabo. They have blonde hair. You'll find out they actually have a relation to celestial dragons. Now, is that just a coincidence, or does Oda want us to notice something? There's a trend going on here that blonde-haired people who we don't know much about. You find out from them that they have a connection to royalty. Now, this means that Sanji might be a fallen prince. A prince that lost he lost his right to claim the throne. And this might explain why Sanji was trying to be a cook on a ship. You never know. I'm not entirely sure where all this is coming from. And maybe one of the things about Sanji is like Sanji has been shown to be quite humble. I mean, also to care about his friends. Royalty would never do that. So, what is strange is that Sanji is showing characteristics of a humble person, and of a humble king at that. Sanji also has knowledge of something called the All Blue, which we don't even know what the heck that is and why Sanji believes in it so much. And it's his dream to get to this All Blue. It's a chef's dream. Now the thing is, I say he has a connection. Maybe it's not the fact. Maybe it's not the fact that Sanji is a prince, but a chef regarded very highly. Maybe that's the case. Maybe he's the son of a very famous chef. and something's happened, and now that they know that the chef has a child, and they don't want the they don't want the secrets of that chef's food to go to the public. They need him alive so they can get all the recipes. But that's just a far-fetched theory of him being some type of super chef. You never know. Um, but the thing is Sanjis is very important. At the end of the day, Oda wants us to know that Sanji is very, very, very important. We really don't know Sanji, is what I'm getting at here. You can say all you want, we got some backstory. No. That backstory is BS. I really, really, thinking about it now, that backstory doesn't seem much. It just shows that he's going to some development. You know, he's changed from a snot-nosed brat who didn't care much about food to a chef who wants to feed his crew. This is weird. Even another thing, Sanji, before I end this video, Sanji even didn't even want to be a part of Luffy's crew when Luffy had first offered. That is interesting. Even his master, Pirate King, not Pirate King, but Zeph, he even persuaded Luffy to take him. Now, I feel like Zeph knows something, and now that we're getting some development towards it, I think we're going to be seeing some more of the Baratier. Considering the Bratier is a moving restaurant, it's a floating restaurant, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be seeing more of the Bratier. I think we're gonna get some huge development towards Sanji as a person, and I can't wait. So guys, tell me if you like these types of theory videos. I could probably bring some more out for other animes, maybe One Piece. I'd say thanks for listening. If you stayed this long for 22-minute theory video about nothing, just about a character of an anime. So guys, I'll see you guys next video for, I guess it's really gonna be a Theory Gates or a Minecraft video. See you guys then.